Absolutely. Paulie, we have a super fight with Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Two New Jersey and New York fighters. What do you think about Brooklyn, New York? You're from Brooklyn. Yeah. What do you think about the whole fight?
It's a difficult fight to really pick. Because there's a replay there. You wanna give Shakur the edge, and I do, but KO is not something to play with, because when he's got his back to the wall, he becomes the most difficult guy to deal with, And he's got his best performances when people count him out. And then when people feel like he's gonna win easily, he's got his worst performances. So this is one of those times where Teo could make it really, really interesting. Shakur for me is a possible pound for pound number one at one time. But if there's a guy who could be a threat to him, it is Teo, because Teo has that little bit of difference-making ability.
Paulie Malignaggi warns that in the Stevenson versus Teofimo fight, it's not just a battle, it's a trap. Teofimo brings explosive power, but Stevenson fights like a flawless machine. When moments clash with perfection, Malignaggi says the result could be brutal.
Shakur is a very talented, skillful, technique fighter.
Yeah.
Can't take anything away from it. However, scared to get hit. Scared to get knocked out in front of the world. Scared to get touched up in front of the world. And
are you saying that off of the last fight, or just
in general?
In general.
In general.
Yeah.
In general. Me and Shakur sparred before. We did 3 rounds, and it was just light work. And me trying to figure out his jab. Does he have a good jab? Yeah, he does. But once you pass his jab, it's game.
Yeah.
It's food. It's lunch food. I am the best. I don't see no contract that says Shakur's name on there.
Yeah.
So until then, I'm gonna say and talk my stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want to come that way, then come that way. I mean, you have investors that are with you, and that's great. But they understand that they cannot have you come this way. Because I am too much of a gambler.
What makes Malignaggi's analysis so interesting is that he actually respects Teofimo Lopez's danger, but through a paradox. Teofimo is at his deadliest when backed into a corner. We've seen it against Lomachenko and Josh Taylor. When the world counts him out, he comes alive. Because Teofimo is the underdog here, Malignaggi says he's a real threat. Someone you can never fully sleep on.
Shakur for me is a possible pound for pound number one at one time. But if there's a guy who could be a threat to him, it is Teo, because Teo has that little bit of difference-making ability.
Is it a 60-40 fight? Is it still close?
I mean, it's probably 60-40, maybe even higher, but that's a live 30 and 40 by Teofimo, because again, the way he shows up is very, very difficult and tricky.
But it's very rare for fighters to fight in their prime nowadays. They're both, 28 years old. They're fighting in their prime.
Yeah.
You gotta give a lot of respect to both of them, right?
Yeah, you do. And that's the problem. You don't see a lot of fights happening in guys' primes. They milk the money and stuff like that. That's why I give these two guys credit. Virgil Ortiz is trying to fight everybody in their prime. He fought Boachuk and they were in prime. He's trying to fight Duran now. There's certain guys that will do it. Lomachenko will try to always do that. You gotta give credit to guys that do that, Usyk did that a lot, but so for these two guys, they're gonna fight. It's definitely a treat for boxing.
Malignaggi warns that relying on emotional volatility is risky. For every explosive Teofimo performance, there's a night he looks flat, frustrated, or confused. He puts the fight at a 60-40 edge for Shakur, close on paper, but a huge gap in elite boxing. Teofimo needs chaos to win. Shakur just needs to be himself. In a 12-round chess match, relying on an X factor usually isn't enough to crack a code that's never been broken.
40, maybe even higher, but that's a live 30 and 40 by Teofimo, because again, the way he shows up is very, very difficult and tricky.
Malignaggi's expertise as a pure boxer shines in this matchup, and he sees trouble for Teofimo Lopez. While Teofimo thrives as an explosive counterpuncher when opponents stand still, Shakur Stevenson is a master of distance and ring control. Paulie argues that Shakur's fight IQ is among the highest in boxing. He doesn't just dodge punches, he neutralizes offense itself. Stevenson's defense forces Teofimo to constantly reset, preventing him from landing big shots. And history shows Teofimo struggles with elusive, patient opponents like Martin and Ortiz. Paulie predicts Stevenson will exploit that impatience, landing sharp counters while Teofimo misses, proving that in this fight it won't be about raw power, but who controls the geometry of the ring, and Shakur is playing a completely different game.
Is looked at by and large as the guy who can dominate boxing in this generation, right? It's just a matter of him getting the opportunity. I myself have felt that he's the guy who could and should be dominating boxing if he gets the right matchups. But bro, this is one of the rare matchups, if not maybe the only matchup, where I feel like it's a big threat here to Shakur. And then they would all come undone only because of this reason. Teofimo Lopez, we've seen him at his best, but he typically brings out his best characteristics when he's back against the wall and he's counted out. And he's going to be counted out in this fight. By and large, people are going to side with Shakur in this fight to win the fight because he's the more consistent fighter, he's the more class fighter overall, and he's just so damn good. But Teofimo has a way, when you're so damn good and he knows you're so damn good and everybody feels like you're gonna beat him, there's just something about Teofimo, man. He brings out a different level and somehow supersedes that guy who is that damn good. I've seen it. We've seen it already. I'm not saying anything that anybody else hasn't already seen, okay? I'm just stipulating.
Of course, the Lopez camp sees things very differently, and that's where the tension heats up. Teofimo Lopez Sr., never one to shy away from a microphone, claims they've already cracked the code on technical fighters, pointing to the Lomachenko fight as proof they can dismantle high IQ boxers. The father and son duo insist they won't let Shakur get comfortable, promising a level of aggression and pressure that Stevenson has never faced in his career.
Good game plans over the years to beat some great fighters, Lomachenko, Taylor, among them. How difficult is this man, Shakur Stevenson, to prepare for?
Well, I see their weakness. That's what I do. You know, we broke the code with with Loma that nobody had ever done. You know, we didn't let him get comfortable in there. You saw that, you know, within like 8 rounds, he didn't know what to do. I did the same thing with Josh Taylor, and we're gonna do the same thing with Shakur.
All right, we'll start with the fighters now. We'll start over here to my left with Shakur Stevenson. You're nodding your head as you listen to Teofimo Sr. Any reaction to what he just said?
I'm not none of them fighters. I think that he did some great things against them guys. I seen a lot of weaknesses in his game too, and something that he said earlier, he said, Tio never lost to Southpaw. Well, I never lost to Orthodox. So, it ain't no different, but
the difference is you never fought no elite fighter.
Okay, I don't think y'all did either.
Oh, so you gotta show it, baby.
I don't think y'all did either.
The press conference at Madison Square Garden hinted that the pressure might already be affecting the Lopez camp. The psychological warfare was intense, with Lopez Sr. shouting that they would end Shakur's hype train. They believe Shakur's boring style masks a lack of heart, and that forcing him into a dogfight will make his technical skills crumble.
Ego, and I got one guy fighting with discipline. And that's what it was, because he just went out there and was just trying to knock him out from round 1. And it was not working out well. Now, is he going to do that against Shakur? Absolutely not. But also, we've seen him struggle with guys like Jermaine Ortiz. We've seen him struggle with, who was the Canadian guy who, I mean, not that he struggled, but he failed to really impress.
Sandor Martin.
Sandor Martin, another one that he you know, a lot of people thought that he could have dropped the decision.
Were those fights that people counted him out in? No. That's the thing.
No, he was heavy favorite, and they were fights that did not entice him. And if you look at his best performances, there are guys that him and his father have chosen to fight. He called out Lomachenko years before they fought, and people were like, whoa, kid, pump the brakes. No, they saw something. He called out Josh Taylor, a weight class below, and years out, said, I could beat that guy. He called out Jaron Ennis. Obviously, he didn't fight Jaron, but when him and his father put their heads together and they see something in a guy and they end up taking a fight like this, that's dangerous where he's the underdog.
But Malignaggi's analysis suggests this confidence could be misplaced, claiming to have cracked a code is very different from actually doing it against a prime, undefeated southpaw like Shakur Stevenson.
How do you respond to that, Teofimo? It was on Boxing Scene, and it said, Teofimo Lopez seems to have a real disdain for black fighters, and they were talking about, I guess, quotes that you have made about certain fighters, whether it be Tank, whether it be Crawford.
Man, I grew up seeing these guys talk trash. I grew up with more black people than I ever grew up with Latinos. Beating Shakur Stevenson, don't tell me he wasn't black because he's Puerto Rican. I just want to fight black fighters. Kid you not. It was like, you fight like a black fighter from the way you box and everything. You're black, but you're not, but you fight like a black fighter. And it's like, yeah, because I grew up with mainly around that environment. Did I try something? Reverse, take it around, see what we could do, clean the image, and face a guy like Shakur Stevenson and give him his first loss. And
things turned much darker and more personal during the media tour, shifting from competitive banter to genuine hostility. Shakur Stevenson didn't just critique Teofimo's boxing skills. He attacked his character, calling out past disrespectful comments Teofimo made about Black and Puerto Rican people. This added a serious layer of racial tension to the matchup, and Shakur made it clear that this fight isn't just business anymore. He wants Teofimo to answer for those words.